All right, we're live. Just want to make sure before I go ahead and mute YouTube here. Restream has a heck of a delay. It's like 10 seconds. All right, yeah, we are. I can turn this down. Cool. I'll mute YouTube. I'll keep this at a 7 in case Sheets and or Bobby join. I think Sheets is going to try and join. I know he's around a bit busy today. Now, I understand, guys. I had a lot of ball busting from some of my more closer friends in this industry about being like, man, bro, yesterday's show freaking sucked. Like, this was NASCAR for noobs. This was NASCAR for dummies, and I fully understand that. All right, we're we're reorganizing the train and sending it back to just me showing stuff on screen. Like I said, I'm sure Sheets will be here momentarily. Maybe not. Who knows? Let me go ahead and add the screen here. I want this entire screen shared. So for two things, as we jump right into this, so this is right off of qualifying. This is right off of everything being solidified. And I'm going to show the projections in a sense that, like, truly projections don't matter in terms of how people score in these races, because guess what? 65% of the field is going to be involved in a wreck today. All right. 85% of the cars in this, or the truckers in this race are going to have damage in it. Okay. Now, when you join me and join TrueDFS and support me and support everybody here, when you look at the projections, these just updated, and these are mine. I'm sure Sheets will update his in time, but these are mine, and we're going to talk about it more so in a sense of where ownership is going to go to. Okay, this is why I always stand on the side of, and you should be able to see this. I'm looking at it on YouTube. You can see both of these screens fine. Yeah, sure, they're a little blurry, but you can still read them. If you're on like a CCTV or something, or CRTV, then maybe you can't read it that well. But I know you can at least see this type of stuff. And when we talk about projections being fairly easy to project here, okay, when you look at how I'm projecting people, and we can even just look at it from the site, how you can do it, and if you support us and stuff every week, and depending on what the sport and everything, you can just download the CSV and upload to whatever projection set you use. But when we look at this, like when we look at the grid and we pay attention to how people are scoring, we're seeing that a good amount of the good scores, the good players, the good teams, the good drivers are in the 20s. Okay, we also need to remember that, and I'm just showing this so you're aware of this whenever I go to the other screen and you're like, what are these people projected for? Why do you think they're scoring well and whatever? When we look at how and where teams qualified, we need to remember two things. So one, GMS doesn't exist anymore. KBM doesn't exist anymore. That's roughly 7 cars that would roughly take up good portions of the field, 7 positions, or however many cars, at least 7 in the field. Those are just removed now. Okay. And so now we have like a ton of new teams jumping in. We have like the Freedom 76 team, like reminding us about 1776 with old GMS trucks. A lot of people have bought and sold different things, whatever the case may be. That's why we're seeing such a drastic, maybe you're jumping in, you're like, whoa, who are these people qualifying way up here and stuff? And like, that's why qualifying's all funky and everything, especially because there were so many people trying to qualify on time. A lot of people were actually trying to just get a good qualified time in. But now that all that's out of the way, when we look at drivers who actually have good finishing positions, either in track history, because this is what a majority of sites people are going to look at, of like, oh wow, who's finished top 10, who's been optimal, yada yada yada, and that in turn goes and reflects upon their projected points, like Enfinger, Eckes, Lane Riggs, LaJoy, Ben Rhodes, Ty Majeski. All these people would project to be well. You can argue time, you can be like, what about you never, like, for me, just straight up, I mean, you guys know how I am. We just removed from the player pool 1 to 19th right off the bat. But I'm explaining that, like, Ty Majeski's starting on pole. He's going to run up front all day. If this race goes green and people finish where they should, he should be like a top 5 finisher. LaJoy led the most amount of laps last year, wants to run up front in this series. Like, you got to project him to win this race. He's going to run third all day. Okay. So, like, yeah, you got to give the laps to someone. Everybody else is coming from the 20s. Everybody else is the place differential plays, the good plays coming from the back. And so, yeah, I don't make ownership projections, but it's pretty clear as day who's going to carry ownership here. It's pretty clear as day that, hey, man, when we're looking for good cars and good teams and everything, and people are going to jump at projections and they're going to see, you're going to find that Corey Heim, Eckes, Rhodes, Infinger, Raja Caruth. Let's continue. Ty Dillon. Been around every freaking series forever. Okay, we can easily pinpoint these drivers. We're gonna categorize them as green. We can easily pinpoint these guys carrying ownership in this race, correct? Like, come on, that makes a lot of sense. Who's going to have a good car or a good team or good placement to try and get up there? We're also going to see Lane Riggs and Stephen Parsons, actually be going to have, I don't want to be blue. I want blue to be mine, guys. We're going to make these darker green. So, like, this is where the ownership is going to come from. Realistically speaking, if this race went green and or in a wreck fest, we're going to see at least 3 of these guys in green be optimal. Now, what I'm going to do and what I would recommend everybody does, also, we need to also highlight that Timmy Hill and Jason White, I'm also going to categorize as green, because when people are like, well, we need to get guys from the 30s, Timmy Hill, there's a reason why I have a Timmy Hill shirt on right now. It's like he's the only guy I unironically like in NASCAR. I bought this to support the team. Okay, I knew he'd qualify in the back, and I knew I'm going to play him today. But Timmy Hill and Jason White are the 2 drivers. When we look at people in the back and we look at how people have finished, yes, Spencer Boyd, yes, Keith McGee has finished in the top 15 in some of these races, but in terms of being optimal, in terms of scoring well in races, Timmy Hill and Jason White are those 2 drivers. So, excuse me, everybody in green here are people that are going to carry ownership. Everybody in green here are people that are going to most likely be popular. And if people are going to be underweight not underweight, but like these individuals here, we're going to categorize them as yellow, actually. These individuals here should all push, in my opinion, over 29 to 30% owned. We're going to color these green and yellow. We're going to categorize the chalk under yellow. And we'll make these guys like slightly closer to piss yellow color. Like, these are the plays. This is the majority of where the ownership is going to go. I don't think you need to be a rocket scientist to figure that out, right? I don't think it's that crazy. Also, thank you everybody who's hopping in here, joining me. We got 55 of you guys watching here. For whatever reason, this audience today is way different than the dual race. I'm seeing way more familiar names in this one. What's going on, Kay? Eagles, happy to have you here. Phila, good to have you guys back over here. I did not do well because I had a lot of Hemrick, and then all my guys died in the second heat. So I lost like $500 last night. That was the most horrific start to Daytona week that I've had in years. What's going on, Kay? What's going on, Broncos? Yeah, I just want also for those of you who watched the Super Bowl preview that I did with, or live show that I did with Rhodey, I remember we had a lot of pushback because people didn't know who I was. I was like, man, I really hope McCaffrey gets injured just so I don't have to worry about him. That didn't work and stuff. And I just made up winning League of Legends later. But like, same thing here, guys. Like, we are in this instance the worst type of motorsports fan. We want crashes, we want flips. We got ARCA after the truck race. I mean, this is a just wrecking the field type of show in here. I'll check out more of the chat in a minute. You guys can drop down whatever you guys want to say. I'll view it in a couple of minutes. But I'm going to tell you right now, because we have a grand total of 2 hours and 37 minutes until the start of the contest, and I roughly need about an hour and 15 to get my 20 lineups. And I'm playing 10. I'm playing 20 lineups in the 10, the 4, the 5, and the 1 today, so $400 on this race. These are the drivers that I am going to be playing the most of. Everybody in green. I'm going to eat the chalk. I don't give a shit what Timmy's ownership is. He's running full-time this year. He's actually intelligent about how he approaches these races. He doesn't want to be up in the front. He understands these guys are going to kill each other. I don't really care what Timmy Hill does. Jason White, same plan. Like, yes, he's been there late in the races once people wreck. I'm not concerned about him. Lawless Allen is my main concern of the guys back here. When I think of ownership and how I want him to land, I want at least 10 to 11, 12 of my laps with Hill, 10 to 11, 12 with Jason White. I'm probably going to keep Lawless Allen around 8 to 9. Keith McGee's probably going to be in 13. Mason Massey's going to probably be in 13. I want Boyd around 13 to 10. Roper, 13 to 10. I really want, other than Lawless Allen, about 55 to 65% of everybody in green here. And I'm going to specifically not play Ty Dillon. I'm going to fade Ty Dillon. I'm going to fade Corey Heim. I'm going to fade Eckes. Going to fade Rhodes. Why am I doing that? Well, because we're already seeing that people are like going truly, what's the word? I'm not on my own channel anymore, so I can't use truly insulting terms. But the low IQ plays that we just saw last night. Okay, you guys heard me talking about, man, Logano could work out in in GPPs. He might stay up there and lead. Ironically, it was McDowell who stayed up there and led until he got crazy and he drops on the last lap. But dude, Logano's being played in cash, man. When we look at the ownership at how these people are playing, it is insane how people are playing. I mentioned to a couple individuals over the course of the last week, really, that when we look at the cycle of stacking the back, it's really, in my opinion, it's like a cycle of starting point 1, 2, 3, then we're right back to the starting point. Typically, the stack from the back ownership circle typically goes about a 1.5 year cycle of and it really depends on how mainstream it is in terms of if it's the Cup Series or if it's the lower 2 series. And so when we look back at 2 instances of stacking the back, truly working, I'm talking real shitters in the back, these guys in green, in situations where these guys work. Last time it worked was Talladega Spring last year. Last time it worked in Cup was the summer of 2022 in Daytona when they rained and everybody crashed and turned 1 and stuff 1.5 years ago. When we look at those individual instances, and Cup Series usually has more pull than the other series, we had stack from the back, truly work in the Cup Series. People go to Talladega seeing that it just happened. People win, parlays for $1 million. We saw people win a shitload of money stacking from the back. They get to that next race at Talladega and they stack from the back and then they get crushed. They don't win anything. And then they go to Daytona and, last year doesn't necessarily win. You have Chase Elliott and other guys working through. Then you go throughout the years, last summer, stack from the back didn't work because Riley Herbst had transmission issues. We had Brennan Poole go a lap down. We had BJ McLeod go a lap down. We had Brennan Poole involved in the big wreck out of 4 that took out a good portion of the people, but the guys in the back were a lap down or involved in that. They weren't able to jump up. And we see that the stack from the back, actually truly playing guys in the back ownership has usually decreases for about 1.5 years. We're at that point. And this weekend, I just want to completely play guys from the back, especially in a race like this, where all the ownership, all the plays, all the projections, this isn't me being crazy. This all these guys in the 20s, you can visibly see that these guys are the most likely to be optimal, most likely to be up front, most likely to run up front, and most likely to wreck up front. I just don't want to play these guys, but I need to understand, or the way I use projections is to see where ownership would end up coming in at. So when we look at Jason White, Lawless Allen, Keith McGee, all these guys here in the back, you see them projected pretty poorly. They're slow, they're there's no reason these guys are going to race. Corey Roper, he's horrible. Lawless Allen, Spencer Boyd, this guy's horrible. Brian Dawsat, he's 68 years old, man. Sorry, but bro, you're bad. He's going to be Brian's going to be involved in a wreck. There's no way he avoids a wreck in this race, but he's going to be running last all day. So when we're getting to a race like this where the field's going to wreck, I want to be on the guys that look ugly. Nobody wants to be on, and I want to be underweight on the field. And I'm not trying to run through this very quickly, but I kind of want to get this over in 30 minutes so I can go build my lines and stuff. In terms of actually viable plays, this is it. This should be your pool. If you're not building with 18th to 36, doing it wrong. Just absolutely paying the rake. You don't know what you're doing. There's no hope for you, man. If you're I'm gonna get different and play the guy in 9th, I'm gonna play Bailey Curry, and you're just wasting your own time. You're wasting your own money. I cannot believe it. Let's see. Let's keep going through. Yeah, Team Death Philly. Yeah, type in the comments who you guys want to see flip over. And dude, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be really pissed off if we don't have a flip tonight. You're telling me I get Trucks and Arca in one night and we don't see a flip? That I want my damn money back, man. What's going on, Kevin Stanley? I'm not playing Raja Karuth. I don't know why you would play him. Where's that loser starting? He's got to be up here. Where's Rod? Oh, he's 20th. Yeah, I mean, I'm not playing him, man. People are gonna play him. He's in a good car. He's a good driver. He's in a good team. I'm not gonna play the good guys, man. Last night wasn't awful for DFS because a lot of people. I mean, Sheets won the first dual contest. Astukas had like freaking 12 lineups in the top 100 of that. Like TrueDFS guys did well. I was just overweight on Hemrick, and like that fucked like fucking 10 of my lines like right off the bat. And then I was low on the place differential plays. I was more aggressive on the forwards and stuff. I'm like, it happens. But it was all around a great day for the Discord and stuff. Hey, what's going on, Dave? If you get TrueDFS plus SaberSim for $6.99, so if you get TrueDFS in any form, like NASCAR only, is just me and access to the Discord. If you get the $60 TrueDFS, that's all the projections that we offer for every sport. If you get SaberSim plus, or you get any of the SaberSim add-ons, that means you get all of our stuff that we offer plus SaberSim included. I hope that answers that. But yeah, if you're just looking for NASCAR, Dave, you can just get the NASCAR only package. What's going on, Jolly? What's up, McCarthy? Andrew? What's going on, Dave? Happy to see you back. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I mean, we're absolutely losing. We're losing, or we're not losing. We're leaving so much money on the table. This is like my wet dream of contest, man. I have like no interest in playing the guys in yellow, and they're going to be so owned. Like in this race, I'm going to sit here for an hour and a half with my buddies on Discord, and I'm like, please, God, wreck Christian Eckes. Please, Lord, wipe out Ben Rhodes. What's that, Ty Dillon? Get out of here. Please, wreck. Like, that's literally going to be the entire hour and a half of this race for me. It's like, just take out these guys, Lord, please. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, sorry, AC. I saw that you were talking to the Broncos. You weren't necessarily asking that. Yeah. Also, ACS is going to compete. I don't know if you did the duels yesterday, but like ACS is going to compete. All my Patreon guys are going to hopefully just eat like crazy tonight, man. Everybody from the old Patreon days, like you guys already know, this is like the perfect contest here. Just absolutely playing shitters and guys that have no reason even being on the track. Fading anyone up front, like a lot of the guys fit. No, I mean, Mark, I'm telling you right now, driver, telling you right now, there's no reason to play anybody inside the top 18. And like, if you're set on playing somebody up front, like start from like 22nd on back. Look, man, I'm just saying, there's like, you do not play anybody blacked out, and realistically, there's no reason to play anybody from 22nd on up. Wow, that's I don't know. I don't even know how to take that. What about the woman? Is she any good? Like, what the fuck kind of question is that? What kind of comment is that? Well, Tony, yet again, when we look at cars here, where's Tony at? She's starting like 15th or something. If I uncovered stuff, I could probably find her. So she's starting 13th. In terms of like, does she have talent? Actually good talent. Is she going to run up front? Well, she's in the Tricon Garage cars. When we look at how those cars run in these races, Tanner Gray, Taylor Gray, her, I don't even know who else is in the Tricon cars for this race. They're going to be run up front, man. Like these guys, let me explain this in another sense. I'm going to be live for around another probably 15 minutes. When we look at guys who are going to run up front all day, or at least run competitive times, especially like Cody Robaugh, guy who's been optimal in Daytona like 10,000 times. Thank the Lord he's not in the back of the field. So like we can just remove him. But when we look at Ty Dillon, Corey, Eckes, Rhodes, Enfinger, Lane Riggs, Raja Caruth, Chase Purdy, Stuart Friesen, Cody, Tony, Taylor, Matt Crafton, Nicholas Sanchez, Corey LaJoy, Sauter, Matt Mills, and Ty Majeski. We have 18 cars highlighted right now. And those should be your top 18 cars running position-wise in this race. And when you look at where crashes happen in the field here, usually starts up front, kind of accordions. It's way back to like 6th, 7th, 8th. 9th place gets spun onto the apron, entering the corner, comes back up the track and collects like, the guys running 14th to like 19th, 20th and stuff like that. Well, we just highlighted 18 guys, the people who should be up front. Like that's why we don't want to play them and stuff. So like, this is not an ordinary race. We're not playing people based on skill. We're not playing people based on equipment. We're not playing people based on anything other than where's the ownership going. What does Blender say? Where does the money come from? The money comes from all the people playing the cars that are good plays, highlighted in yellow, and we just hope they wreck. That's literally all I've done. Okay. If there's one place that I will actually be like, I know what the hell I'm talking about, it's these races right here. Okay. I would love to find anybody who's made as much content as stacking the pure shitters in the back as me. And yeah, that's that. Let's see. What else you guys got? Yeah, I mean, dude, ACS, this is the best contest ever. Like, I cannot, but we haven't had one this good in years. Like, these guys in the back are actually horrible. Like, these people are people I would actually be concerned about driving with on the actual interstate. Like Chris Hacker, I don't care if the semi truck drove into him going the wrong side of the road. It's Chris Hacker. Like, he's gonna wreck on and off the track. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing with these guys back here. Yes, I'm fading everybody in yellow. And to answer your question, no, she's not viable in this race. I like Timmy Hill. I'm not going to play Ty Dillon. I just mentioned that. I've gone through. I've been here for 20 minutes, and I haven't shut up once. And I've gone over all the colors, all the people highlighted on your screen. I mean, who do you think is lowest on the guy starting 30th or worst? It's probably Brian because he's literally a geriatric fuck in this race. Having to do a second one after this. Desat is probably the worst driver in this field. Second to that would probably be Mason Massey. So who do I want to have a lot of? I want to have a lot of Brian. I want to have a lot of Mason Massey. Like, if I'm actually highlighting these guys in terms of how I think I'm gonna end up playing them or having the most, I'm probably gonna have really trying to think. I'm probably gonna have my highest exposure to Mason Massey, Timmy Hill, Jason White, Boyd, McGee, Brian, Roper, Lawless, Allen in that order. That's probably how my own ownership will end up breaking down. And first, Mason Massey might push me at 70. Everybody else should still come in around like 65 to 55 in my lineups. And I just don't want any of the guys in yellow. It doesn't make any sense to have that. Like, it doesn't make any sense to include these guys with, speaking for me, just out loud, thinking wise, like, building with 5 guys here and going up like that just doesn't make any viable sense, man. The ownership lean that I get by not having any of the guys in yellow leaves me to have like all my lines not duplicated at all. I don't even want to deal with that. So probably Jack Wood would be the one guy in the 20. Jack Wood, man, I really don't want to fucking play Parsons, man. I'm trying to think right now. If I would play anybody up here, how would I play them and what would I do? Jack Wood seems like the only guy I'd want to play in the 20s. And then if I was going to go up there, I just don't see a reason why. But like Brett Holmes and Purdy would be where I want to go there. Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's literally not rocket science, y'all. You just play the ugly plays back here. I know it looks ugly. I know if you've never done it before, you're leaving like $35,000 on the table salary-wise, but just do it. Just do it. Don't do it. And then just hope for Rex. And then, like, truly, like, worst case scenario, Brian, which hasn't happened with him, but it happened at one time at Talladega where, like, I think it was actually Joe Nemechek. He started like 29th, like lap 2, got loose, wrecked in turn 3, and took out all the guys starting in the back of the field, and it was a disaster. All I got to say is if these guys in yellow truly survive and be optimal, dude, power to all the chalk coming through. Like, that's such a disgusting race. I would actually be furious. Kyle, it's so, I mean, how many is this? So this is like 8, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 7 guys. So that's what I mean. At some point, you have to start moving up and including more drivers. So I probably include Jack Wood, Holmes, Purdy, and stuff. But like when let me also here. Let's do this real fast. Hold on. I'll answer that real fast. Let me go to my channel. Let me go to playlists. Let me bring this up so I don't have to answer questions like this. So if you click, go to my channel. I've shared this in like every video I've posted so far, and you look at where is it? How I make super speedway lineups, which is like this video. All these I made these specifically so I don't have to answer any of these questions anymore. And when we look at like the truck series and how they end up scoring and stuff, and I walk you through like when we look at all these races here in the truck series and you see like how bad these guys actually run, like they're actually trash. And you see how I build lineups because I show you how I end up building. I got StreamYard in the way. Hold on. And I show you how I end up building this is lineups optimized and stuff, or like how I build. And bam, hey man, here we are, literally talking you through how I build lines. Look how condensed they are. Now these go from like 38 to 28, so this is an Xfinity race, but I build very, very condensed lineups in the back, man. You know, depending on what race they are, might spread them out more and stuff, but I break down exactly how I build. And so like if we're building with like the back guys, we're gonna have a lot of lineups that are just literally stacking the back. Like that's it. If you want more detail, check out this this playlist that I put together for everybody, so I don't have to answer that question as much or anymore. Yeah. Also, which is correct. Like very similar to like Toyotas yesterday. It's very unlikely that one Toyota works out. It's literally like all the yellow guys are going to work out and score very similar and be optimal. Like I have Enfinger, Eckes, Lane Riggs here. Corey LaJoy is probably going to maintain a run position inside the top 5. Ben Rhodes, Ty Majeski maintain a run position inside the top 5. Raja Caruth, Ty Dillon. Like all these guys are either going up together or wrecking together, man. The public is going to be playing these guys. When we look at ownership time and time again, they're going to be chasing these guys in the 20s. And we just don't want any of that. We don't want any of that. If you just don't like truly having god ugly lineups, play a max of 2 of the guys in yellow in each line. That is my true advice. Past that, let's have fun. Give it a good old camp counselor's like good try, or kid, or like Eagle Scout, whatever it is. Try it out. It's only money. Like, bro, man, I mean, this is like one of the best slates I've ever seen in my life, man. I want to see, like, Timmy Hill might push 25, 28%, maybe 33 starting so far back, looking good in terms of track history. But man, really, like we should be getting ownership at least under 18% on everybody else back here. Truly. Jason White, maybe because he's been off before. Spencer Boyd, decent at finishing. Maybe pushes like 22, 23. But man, just go for it, man. Real quick, Wesley, your projections on site don't make any sense. I will if you got any questions, I'm here for the next 6 minutes. Let's answer and let's talk about it. I will talk you through the projections. Actually, I'll show you the projections. Well, I want you to elaborate, Wesley, so I can answer whatever issues you have with that. But we can talk about it, and I will answer whatever you want. She would be in the back. Well, that's just okay. That doesn't help me at all. Playing 5 green. Go right ahead, Matt. That sounds good. Last year, 15, 16, 19, 24. We're all up. Can you explain to a newbie why you're fading all those positions? Yet again, you're looking. The playlist I just showed answers all that in detail. We cannot look at. Also, the optimal lineups aren't played. As truly, they're not. High scoring lineups are, but it's very rare the optimal is actually played. Thank you, Ronnie. The reason why we're fading all those positions is because this roughly is an ownership play slate. There are 36 cars in the field, and I suck at percentages. So let's because I'm really, really bad. So 36 cars in the field. When we look at a race like this, over 65% of the field will most likely DNF in this race. So, just so I don't get anything wrong here, we're looking at most likely 23, 24, 25 cars will DNF in this race. When we look at cars being involved in wrecks in these races, which yet again, I've talked about this in the playlist, talked about this in nauseam for like 7 years. We will have about 85% of the cars of the trucks in this race have damage in some form or fashion, whether it be like a little tire donut, little scrapey scrape on the side, or just completely destroyed. We roughly have like 10 to like 15% of cars like escape these races without like any sort of damage at all. When you compare that with the fact that we're going to have people in yellow carry an ownership, let's just say it's 33%, most likely more, but let's say it's 33%, okay? And you combine that with the percentage of cars being involved in wrecks and the percentage of cars being involved in just having damage in general. Why would you have ownership on somebody like Christian Eckes, who has the exact same likelihood of being involved in a wreck as Jack Wood and Corey Roper? And speaking even hardly, like why Jack Wood would be the guy I'd want to play, identical play. Same likelihood to be involved in a wreck. If Ben Rhodes wrecks out in this event and he's at like 33%, 38%, whatever, and he DNFs, Jack Wood is involved in the same wreck and they fall to the back of the field, unless Ben Rhodes like limps across like a few more feet than him, he'll outscore Jack Wood by 1 point. But when we look at the grand scheme of things, of how many lineups are being taken out in wrecks with ownership like that, when we look at the grand scheme of things of how like lineups are just dead on arrival with people starting up front, playing these idiots up here, people playing guys who are involved in wrecks, like you have to get yourself different. And like this is the easiest way to do it. You just fade the chalk in these races. That's all you do. And I can speak firsthand experience. I have won like 25 grand really over the last like 2 years by just doing this and hoping that it's a wreck fest. And that helps me eat any race that goes green, any race where the chalk comes through, any race that doesn't involve a lot of wrecks. I'm still fine. The times that these are wrecks and the times that you actually build for those, like just keeps you safe. Like you could just eat any like bad super speedway race for like the next year and a half. And so that's why I build that way. Did Wesley ever come back? He did not. So just got in, caught the tail end qualifying road. Okay. Yeah. Don't play fucking roads in general. That's a player. I'm literally not going to repeat the same stuff there. Wesley. All right. Let's look at this in detail. Since he didn't answer me, I guess I'm just going to speak for him. I don't know exactly how he's looking at this stuff, but when we look at how people perform in this race, you can see that I got Majeski, and this is just how I do projections. Yet again, I'll be live for around 5 more minutes arguing my point here because I need like an hour and a half to build my lineups. But when we look here, I at least try and visualize how a race is going to play out and where people are going to be running in certain positions or whatever, and how people should get to the front and how they won't get to the front and stuff. Can I do the thoughts like blend? I mean, I think all I said is like, where'd the money come from? I don't know. I'm not Blender. That guy is way smarter than me. I'm the dumbest person on this website, on TrueDFS, by far the dumbest individual here. But like Ty Majeski, going to maintain a running position inside the top 3. I just left him finishing first. Fuck it. Doesn't matter. Johnny Sauter, finally in a good car after like 10 years. He was with Doors, but you know what I mean. He's been running shitters for like 2 years now. Going to be up front, going to maintain a running position inside there. We also have a lot of people who just don't know what they're doing. LaJoy, going to lead laps. He wants to be up front. He did it last year. He always runs up front, especially when he comes back down in these lower series for Spire. Going to be up there. Matt Mills with Nice, they want to race up front. You know, Nicholas Sanchez, most likely going to be running 6 all day. Daniel Dye is actually trash. He's going to be horrible, falling through the field. I don't need to project this man to finish like, what would that be, like 27? It doesn't matter. 2 points, 26 points, understands that like he's not viable at all. Tanner Gray, Tricon, going to be up front. They want to be up front. Bailey Curry, Nice Motorsports, they want to be up front. And so what we're trying to, at least for me, is I'm like, who's realistically going to be running inside the top 20 in this race? Thad Moffitt, literally trash, horrible. If he maintains running position there, okay, wow, yeah, cool. 37 points, giving him a couple fast laps or whatever. Like no reason to like have anything there. Matt Crafton going to maintain a run position inside the top 10. Taylor Gray, Tricon wants to be up there. Tony, Tricon going to be up there. Cody, this is actually based on like him wrecking out. Most of the time we see Cody run right around like 20th in these races. So like, that's not what I meant to do. We put him like at 22nd running position. He finishes 14th, but he like understands what he wants to do. He literally just had Clay Greenfield, the other car that he had money in, the other car that he owned, not make the field. I can't imagine that he like wants to run up front and destroy another car. He's a guy who's going to survive and get through here on attrition. Very likely that like Cody, based on how he usually finishes, I mean, this might be a bit aggressive. This is like a 6-7 place finish. If you even go down further, like it doesn't, him going from like 46 to 42 doesn't matter. Like he can compete to be optimal. Dean Thompson is literally trash. Garcia, same, going to be in the top 20, going to be in the top 20. We get to situations here. Yeah, Purdy and Holmes. Like, if you want to be more aggressive, like, okay, yeah, sure. Holmes sucks. Purdy sucks. What else is still happening? You're still having Raja Carew, who's going to be trailing and wanting to run with Corey LaJoie, wanting to run with all the guys up front. I gave him like 9th here. You know, Lane Riggs. What did Zane Smith and front row nearly always do? They want to run the top 10. Enfinger wants to run. Ben Rhodes, Eckes. Like these are all these projections aren't insane. What do you mean they're bad, Wesley? What do you mean? They're not Saber Sim. Good Lord Almighty. Did you see that crap that they were throwing out last night? It's not that. What is it like? What are you talking about, my dude? What are you actually talking about? When you look at these guys here, this 68, 69-year-old old man, this old geezer who like should be having to like take an actual like driving test to like keep his actual license because he's nearing 70. You're telling me you want me to project him better than 27th? What are we talking about here? Like, you know, Jason White, a closer. Timmy Hill, a closer. These guys will run the back of the field. Jason White actually knows what he's doing. He can get through the field late in the race. Timmy Hill, going to run the back. He can get through the field late in the race. Like, these are not crazy projections. And it gives you an idea of where the ownership is going to play. And that's mainly what I use it for. I would never throw these in an optimizer because it's just going to give you the chalk plays. But this is like, hey, roughly, hey, these guys are good plays. That's probably where the ownership's going to go. Hey, man, we look at these guys. These guys are probably going to carry the most ownership in from 29th to 36th and so on and so forth. Like these are not bad projections. What are we talking about here, man? What are we actually speaking about? Past that, let's see what else we got here. Anything else? I don't believe so. 97 of you guys here. Thank you very much for joining me. I do believe that is it. I'm going to go build my lineups. If you guys are in the Discord or anything like that, you'll see my final ownerships probably in like an hour and a half or so. So glad someone yeah, thank you, Ronnie. Yeah, all the people. Look, it's so weird because like yesterday, like, man, it's hard for me to act like this, like full throttle with the two guys who signed my paychecks in the same video, you know? I'll get better with that as it goes on. I understand that yesterday's video was kind of, I guess, hard to watch and stuff. But we'll get back there. But this is you know, this is a slate for us, man. Let's root for Rex. Let's see a flip. And then we get to watch the ARCA series where like it is very likely we actually kill somebody in that race because those guys are actual amphibians and they have no idea what they're doing. That's kind of where I'm answering with no Parsons. I mean, he's certainly a guy in yellow or that I highlighted in yellow that I would prefer Parsons over like anybody like Raja, Riggs, Enfinger, Rhodes, Eckes. But Parsons is a guy that when you look at his finishing positions in these races, sure, yeah, he get caught up in wreck, but he has like pretty decent finishes inside the top, like 24, like from 24th to like 11th. And you got to think that people are just looking at Wesley. People like Wesley are looking at, you know, this guy finished 17th in a race. Why do you got him projected bad, or whatever the case may be? Like Parsons, I don't think Parsons is going to be involved in the crash in this race. Maybe Parsons comes in lower around the one I'm thinking of, but like he's in the 75 car, the one that Klickerman would always finish well in. Like Henderson Motorsports is a team that doesn't want to tear cars up. Parsons will most likely probably run in the rear. That's what I would want him to do. If I own that truck, I'm like, dude, Parsons, you're trash. You're actually terrible. Please don't run up front. Don't destroy this car early in the race. That's why I'm like, I mean, Parsons has a, I don't know. Maybe people aren't going to even look into that. They just see Stephen Parsons and they don't want to play him or whatever. I don't know. That's I mean, I'm like this is where I'm like deep in the weeds, and I'm like, where are the other people going stacking from the back? Parsons seems like that type of play. I need to get different in like those lines. Like I'm already fading the main chalk. I'm playing against Astukas, ACS, all my Patreon guys who usually kill in races like this. How do I get different from them? Like that's where I'm playing like 40 chess over here. That's where I'm like, man, do I want to play Parsons or not? And that's where I'm at. Thank you, BG3. ARCA race is a complete demolition derby, and it is by far the best race of the weekend. We have we've gone over about 40 minutes, somewhere around there. 91 of you guys still here. Best of luck, everybody. I have no idea what the plan is for tomorrow, because we might just have everything rained out whenever we figure out when the Xfinity Series is going to be raced, when the Daytona 500 is going to be raced. We'll kind of go on from there. The only one I can guarantee is that Sunday at 10 o'clock Eastern time, I'll be talking the Daytona 500, regardless if they race on Sunday or not. Past that, let's root for crashes. Let's root for wrecks, root for flips. If you don't like that type of stuff, I don't know what else to tell you, because it's going to happen regardless in this race. So best of luck, everybody, and I will see you guys later. So I will. Best of luck. Let's go, Timmy Hill, TH, my man. And I swear to God, you run up front, Timmy Hill, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to be pulling my hair out. I'm going to come back. We're going to do the Daytona 500 show, and I'm going to be missing just chunks of hair that I've ripped out when Timmy Hill runs up front. That's how that's going to be. So I'll see you guys later.